Right, and welcome back to Inclusive Design 24, brought to you in partnership with Barclays Access, the Pacello Group, Intopia, Microsoft Edge, and Open Access Technologies. Don't forget, you can subscribe to Inclusive Design 24 on YouTube by visiting youtube.com/Inclusive Design 24 and hitting that subscribe button. Also, don't forget to follow at id24.conf on Twitter. And if you have questions for the presenters, tweet them using the hashtag ID24, and we'll ask them at the end of the session. And also a big hello for ID24U in Bangalore, India, where the next talk is actually being broadcast as well.
Next we'll be having Srinivasu Chakravarthula talking about accessible websites with WordPress. Over to you, Srinivasu.
Hey, thank you, Ian and Patrick, and good morning, everyone. Good afternoon or good evening from the rest of the world, wherever you guys are. It's a privilege to be speaking on Inclusive Design 24, and my special thanks also to people at Intuit who are generous enough to host this as an ID24U event as part of their Intuit Accessibility Summit today. So, just for the information of people who are on the web, we have about 50 to 60 people sitting in this room and listening to this ID24 talk. So in next about 30 to 35 minutes, we'll be talking about, to begin with, talk a little bit about myself, and then I'll jump into what is WordPress and why do we prefer to use it, and what is the problem statement that I'm going to address today. And yeah, a little bit about how do you choose the themes, and what are the useful plugins, and how can you play something with the CSS. Okay, and yeah, and what are things that you need to consider doing it. Okay, let's get started. And a little bit about me. I currently an accessibility leader at Informatica. I'm also a founder of something called Serve Inclusion, where I spend time on writing blogs related to accessibility, assistive technology, and whatever new things happen in the area of accessibility space. I love writing, and I also provide a bit of consulting to the companies like startups and people who want to build the websites and applications. I'm also advisor to a company called Packet Solutions, which is into a testing space. I'm a member of the International Association of Accessibility Professionals, where I'm also certified by them as a web accessibility specialist. Yeah, I'm a member of Accessibility Guidelines Working Group at W3C. Formerly, I worked at Barrier Break, Yahoo, PayPal, HCL, where I contracted at Google, and also at DQ. I live in Bangalore with my wife Hema and two children, a girl and a boy. Just about girl is 5 years and boy is 2 years. So that's a little bit about me. Okay, what is WordPress all about? Most of you know it is a at some point it was a popular blogging platform, and it is still a blogging platform, but it's also become a powerful content management system. I see portals like e-commerce portals and a lot of powerful websites run on WordPress today. And good part is it's open source. Why do we use WordPress? For me personally, I've been using WordPress for almost more than 10 years now. I have also played with a few other content management systems, but to differentiate, its ease of use of WordPress is phenomenal. You don't really need to have a coding expertise to use WordPress. It's robust, modern, and accessible. Only minus is recently when they're working on the Gutentag editor, which we are actually having a discussion over the internet for the last couple of days. The accessibility of the new editor is not really great. And I personally feel it's not because of the commitment from WordPress, but it's about the technology they have chosen, that is React. I think that is where the fix has to come, and I'm hopeful that this gets resolved at some point. Well, let's all hope it happens as soon as possible. Okay, what's the problem statement? It's not about commitment from the platform vendors, that is WordPress, having commitment about accessibility. The problem is that the people who use the WordPress, a lot of them does not know about accessibility. There's a lack of awareness, and they don't even know the accessibility features exist within the WordPress itself. And secondly, the implementation by content partners. So when you're actually putting up content, you also need to take care of a few things to make sure your content is accessible on the platform. So a lot of times portals will become inaccessible, not because of the platform they use, because of the how they put up the content. So is the solutioning part that is coming up. So first thing is, when you're actually choosing a theme, you need to consider, is your theme has accessibility features, because you want to save your time. You don't want to pick up some theme and start retrofitting it, and which takes a lot of time. But thanks to our teams who actually evaluated quite a lot of themes at WordPress accessibility team, at the point of time when I was preparing these slides, there were 123 accessibility ready themes which are available in that store. People can pick up. And also, once you pick a theme from here, it does not mean that it still be accessible. Chances are there accessibility might be broken. Okay, so it's important that you check for accessibility of the theme that you have already chosen. Okay, so a couple of plugins that I've been using in the WordPress, something called OneClick Accessibility. This I started using pretty recently, about a couple of months ago, but this actually fascinated me to use for a few reasons. It has got useful stuff like it automatically provides some common enhancement accessibility features, such as resize text, change to high contrast mode and all. While browsers and operating system do provide the necessary support, lot many users would know the existing features of the browser or operating system. So it is sometimes helpful to have it available on the website itself. And it has the ability to underline all the links. So one of the things we advocate is that links should be underlined so that it differentiates from the content. This is the biggest problem, the focus indicator. In a lot of portals and websites, irrespective of what platform they use, or even the custom built websites, they often do not put the custom focus indicator. And some people even disable the browser's focus indicator. So using the outline colon none. But this plugin adds outline focus to the website. And it also removes the target attribute. So if a link is actually opening up a new window without a warning, it actually removes the target, so it opens in the same window. It is good at sometimes, and it's not so good at sometimes, because if page has got just one link which is outside of the website, it may be okay to open in the new browser or new tab. But if there are if it's an e-commerce store and each product is getting opened in a new browser or tab, it's not so good. This is a link I have provided in the slide to the plugin page. Another plugin that I'm very favorite and I've been using it for many years is WP Accessibility, which is built by a good friend of ours, Joy Delson, who is a good advocate for accessibility. It embeds a few accessibility features like the OneClick does, and it underline the links. And one of the great thing it also has is, in the admin interface, it gives you ability to check the color contrast of colors that you're using. So it has a inbuilt color contrast check analyzer, which is available in the admin panel. This was some great plugins. And playing with CSS. No matter, even if we choose the accessibility compliant themes, but sometimes you still need to work on your own. here are the few things that I've done it myself. Oftentimes, the navigational links will be in uppercase. Okay, so for assistive technology users, sometimes it reads an acronyms than the real word. So I always prefer to have the navigation or any content, unless it's an acronym, to be in the sentence case. So I've changed the text transform from none to from uppercase to none, so that it becomes in sentence case. And then wherever in the CSS I have seen outline none, I have changed that to either dotted or solid, whichever I like. So I changed that as well. And if themes has less contrast, I go ahead and wrote a custom CSS in the additional CSS panel. So I fix the color contrast issues because I've tested many of the accessibility ready themes as well, but most of them still has the color contrast problems. And this is a personal choice, and people can take it or not. In the tables, oftentimes table header will have a little differentiation in color in the background, but I always prefer it to be visible and differentiate from the rest of the cells. So I change the background color of the TH. It would also be nice to add a border to form field, so it helps people with low vision, cognitive, and some set of users. But before you go ahead and make any CSS changes, it is always recommended that you create a child theme of the theme that you're using. Otherwise, when the themes gets updated with a newer version, chances would be that your changes will get broken. Okay, few things to consider. This is more for content generating people. So when you are actually, sorry, Ted. Okay, I think Ted is asking a question for you organizers. So that's one. So this is mostly for people who are putting the content into the portals. Things to consider: you need to make sure you provide the alternate text for images. And WordPress has an ability, when you actually upload an image, when you insert an image into the editor, there's an option to provide the alternate text. So there is a facility available where you need to do. And ensure media player is operable using the keyboard. So if your default player that you're using is not operable, then you need to think of embedding another player, something like accessible media player or something, which is built by one of our colleague Dennis Lambry while he was at PayPal. And ensure form fields have associated labels. So irrespective of you have chosen the accessibility ready theme, always testing is important. You need to make sure your form fields, because to generate the forms, we end up using the different plugins like Contact Form 7 or sometimes Google Forms and things like that. So it's essential we test and ensure form labels are associated, having the associated labels. And this is important. The pagination that is going to be exist in every page of the blog post is accessible. I use a theme called Mundra, M-U-N-D-R-A. So that has got a fantastic pagination. It shows both at the top of the page and bottom of the page. It shows one and then last pages and next and in the text form. It's actually having a very clear pagination. Ensure that menus are operable using the keyboard. Oftentimes most of the themes, the menus gets expanded automatically. Okay, which should not happen, because if I'm on About Us, has a sub menu, and there is Services, has got a drop down menu, and I just need to jump onto next version, which is a contact or blog, and if the menus gets automatically expanded, I am forced to go through all of them and then move to the destination that I need. So it should not expand automatically. Even if it does, if I click and press escape, it should collapse. Okay, so that implementation has to happen. Very few themes I have noticed where that implementation is done. If the theme that you're choosing does not have that facility, you need to do a little bit some work about it and make sure your mega menus or menus are accessible using the keyboard. Okay, that's about it from me. And if I'm happy to take any questions. And you can reach me on Twitter at CSRINIVASU. And you can write to me at SRINIVASU.C at SERVOMINCLUSION.com. Thank you so much again to ID24 team, as well as all the sponsors and partners, and Intuit team for hosting it out here.
Right. Thank you very much, Vasu. That was really good. A nice overview of a variety of plugins and everything else that are available. Just one quick question from me really is, because I've been involved in many discussions previously about the advantages and disadvantages of tools that are specific to websites. So something like text resizing versus trying to explain to users what the available options are in their own browsers. And going back quite a few years, I remember the BBC had good resources about basically teaching users about the options that they have already available themselves and linking to those. Are you on this debate? You seem to be falling more towards providing actual tools on the site, but what would you think about?
I am a big fan of your later. I'm a big fan of the later. Providing the information about the things that are already available in the browsers and things like that. But in my website, I actually do both. I actually provide this inbuilt accessibility options, as well as I provide the information in a help file. Some people would like to read the help file and leverage on the things available with the browser. But some people, they just want to come to your website and do things that they want, what they want on your website. And some people, it's a culture, like some people will just not have the patience to go and read the documentation and make the benefit of the available resources. But I'm definitely in favor of educating people in leveraging on the existing features on the browsers and operating systems, because our friends in different companies like Mozilla and Microsoft are putting a great efforts to make their products accessible. So as the authors of the websites, which it's also a responsibility to add education to our users. Okay, I just put this text resize and things, buttons like that. In exceptional cases, when a user is about 70-80 years, it may be easier for him to click on the buttons that are available right in front of him, rather than, of course, in the long run, they can use the features available in the browser. But yeah, they may also some people prefer to use on the page. But definitely if you ask me the percentage versus between the two things, 75% of my vote is for educating people about the features available in the browsers and operating systems, and 25% is of introducing things on our websites. And also there is a challenge if we introduce this text research and all these buttons in our websites. Firstly, our visual design and UX people come and say that, well, you're actually eating up some of my space. So you have a complaint from designers as well.
Yeah, it's a fine tightrope to walk on, isn't it? Now, looking over the Twitters, we seem to have a question. I think Ian spotted it. Ian, could you read it out, please?
I can, yes. So this is from Miklaj Rotnicki. Can you address many accessibility concerns regarding upcoming Gutenberg editor embedded within the next WordPress version? E.g., many experts say screen reader users will have huge problems creating/editing content. Will WordPress become inaccessible to authors?
The Gutenberg, I've been using Gutenberg as a plugin for some time, and definitely it has problems from the keyboard perspective on screen reader users. But I'm just hopeful that they will address some of the concerns, because particularly the problem is if I want to embed an image, or if I want to embed something, and they have a lot of features available like headings, and you can actually pick a blocks, and they are just not accessible using the keyboard. And as a person with low vision, and they have a very poor color contrast of those blocks, identifying those blocks. And another challenge I initially had, and I believe it got resolved in the recent past. Initially, it was not showing up my categories and tags, but now they are. But it does have some challenges for screen reader users. I don't say that WordPress will become inaccessible. And if we keep pushing the Gutenberg team to address the issues, it may take a little some time, but I'm hopeful that things will get addressed. And just because of the editor, if we say that WordPress is inaccessible, is not a good sign of doing it. And at least, or we should actually push for an option until the new editor is accessible. They should provide the classic editor as a plugin at least. But our priority is to get the main editor accessible as soon as possible. And it's unfortunate that Rian has stepped down from the accessibility team lead. But I'm sure the other members of accessibility team will get the support from Gutenberg. And I think we should also, as a community, we should also play some noise and actually play a role to push Gutenberg team as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Rinaldi, is there any questions for you?
I was going to read another one from Twitter again.
Excellent.
Yep, we have another question from Digital A11Y. He's asking, can you tell how the template and heading structures are managed in WordPress CMS?
Can you repeat that question? It's not quite clear.
Yes. Can you tell how the template and heading structures are managed in WordPress CMS?
So I generally mark up headings on my own. That block title will be on H1, but the second, if I'm actually introducing new topics, I pick the H2. Earlier, when I was using Classic Editor, I used to code myself using a H2 attribute. And with the Gutenberg, with some difficulty, I'm actually picking up the H2 heading level 2 from their headings. But Gutenberg also has a feature where you can actually pick up the HTML editor. You can actually edit through with HTML, so you can actually write your code. So it's the heading structure doesn't really change from the CMS to CMS. It's all about the semantics remains the same, and it depends on your content. So, and all of my sidebar widgets and all will generally be in H2.
Right, excellent. Thank you very much for the presentation and for all the answers to our questions.
And just a second, maybe people who are in the Intuit office, I'd be happy to take questions soon after we disconnect from the Hangouts in the room.
Perfect. We're mixing the live with the online. That's always excellent. So again, thank you very much. And to the audience at home, if you like this session, hit that like button. And don't forget, you can subscribe to youtube.com/inclusivedesign24 for future events notifications. And a reminder that Inclusive Design 24 is brought to you in partnership with Barclays Access, the Paciello Group, Intopia, Microsoft Edge, and Open Access Technologies. And with thanks to our sponsors, DQ Systems. Inclusive Design 24 will be back on the hour with Sergey Krieger, and I hope you will join us then. Don't miss it.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.